Hey family, it is none other than your favorite Auntie Jai, teacher, author, natural vegan chef, artist, etc., etc. And welcome back to yet another episode of Discussions and Desserts, the only pro-black, revolutionary, vegan cooking show I know. Alright, and with that being said, remember to like, comment, subscribe, share. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And also, y'all, it takes a ton of time, energy, effort, coin, and all of that to do these videos. And I do not monetize my videos, so I am doing this completely for free. So I appreciate any support that you're able to donate to my PayPal, my Venmo, or my Cashapp, and they'll also be in the description box below. Appreciate you in advance. Alright, today's quote of the day is, if grocery stores close tomorrow, how would you feed your family? I know what I would do. I would make teas, salads, potatoes, most of that from my garden. And then I'll also I know where all the fruit trees are, I know where all the local farms and produce are in my area as well, in case I got to go on a midnight run to grab some things. I encourage everyone to make food maps. That's where you go and figure out where all the food is outside of a grocery store around you, and you document it on the address and the location, and even if you need to, build a good rapport with the people whose food it is, so that if anything happens, you know where to find food. And also, just to cut your grocery bill costs down some as well, find out what your neighbors are growing, especially the Asians and Hispanics, and then see if you can get in there like swimwear. Find out where your local community gardens are, and also find out how to start your own. Get a couple of other black people together, start in somebody's backyard. I don't care. But if grocery stores close tomorrow, you need to be able to feed your families. Okay, last week's dessert was a delicious, delectable, tasty sweet potato pie with a graham cookie crust. This week's dessert is a strawbanilla ice cream with a strawberry maple sauce kind of swirled in there, and a little bit of my garden fresh peppermint. Okay, so our ingredients, I have here about 4 frozen bananas. We've got a few frozen strawberries here. Feel free to use more strawberries if you have any. You can use fresh ones or frozen ones. Try to make sure they're organic. I put about 3 strawberries in our maple strawberry sauce here. And all this sauce is made up of is a couple of strawberries simmered on medium to low heat in a saucepan with like maybe 4 or 5 tablespoons of our organic maple butter. Ooh, the holy grail, baby. This tastes so good. What else? I'm going to be using a little bit of coconut milk and coconut cream. I've decided to use my food processor today. I haven't used it in a long time. I've been using my NutriBullet and whatnot, but I decided to bust it out. What else? Oh, we're going to have vanilla bean when we on the scene. You know what I mean, it's vanilla bean. Let me get y'all. Remind y'all what the inside of the vanilla bean looks like. And then also we're going to have some Madagascar vanilla extract. And that's pretty much it. Very few ingredients, very delicious. So let's get to it. The first thing that we want to do is process our bananas. And because they are frozen and they might be a little tough, I'm just going to already start by drizzling in a little bit of this coconut milk, not too much, and definitely the coconut cream. I like the taste of coconut, so I don't mind it being a little coconutty. These frozen, I use overripe bananas, you guys. These overripe bananas are so sweet. And we're just going to blend them. All done. Next, we're going to drop in our frozen strawberries, or not so frozen strawberries, whichever you prefer. Blend them. And I do like chunky, you know, like chunks of strawberries. I just want to make sure that the chunks aren't like extremely dramatic. So I'm just going through to make sure that that's the case. Y'all, when I say it's on point already, why do I do this? Why do I do this? Okay, now we're going to add the vanilla bean. So we want all of this in there. Vanilla bean is expensive. So I want to make sure I use every last bit. Madagascar vanilla extract. I was a little liberal with my hand today. I still feel guided by my ancestors. And we're going to blend it up. All done. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, this is going to take a little skill and technique. What I did was, after I had made my strawberry maple cream sauce, I put it in the freezer to kind of cool it down so that it acts more like a syrup than a sauce, because of how I want to mix it in here. Okay, so now I'm just going to pour my nice cream in my glass container. You can use a glass container of your choice. All right, and this is what our ice cream looks like. Of course, you're gonna want to chill it, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to, don't sweat the technique, I'm gonna drizzle, not all of it, just some. You see how thick, nice and very thick, as my mama would say, how thick that syrup is, that's strawberry. Now that it's on here, I'm also, oh yeah guys, I have some fresh mint from my garden. Fresh mint, I just picked it actually for this video. Grabbed a little bit of fresh mint, and I'm gonna sprinkle some of that in there too. This is a peppermint. I grow it next to my lemon balm, actually. Sprinkle a couple of those leaves in there, and then I'm gonna take my bamboo paddle here, and I'm just going to lightly mix it up, because we all like the way the swirl tastes in an ice cream when you get those, and we like the way the swirl looks too. Only in my ice cream though, or like in a marble cake. Then I'm gonna add the rest on top. Ooh, look at that drizzle. Drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. What's the song with drizzle that I could have used? Speaking of. Drizzle all that in there. And this is maple butter, so you know I'm going to go for every last drop. Let me see. Ooh. Baby. Didn't have to do it, but I did. You guys, this ice cream's going to be so good. I don't waste no peppermint now, especially. I don't waste no mint though. I'm just going to mix the rest of that in there. This is my personal ice cream, so I can do this. Yes! Yum! I'm going to throw some saran wrap on top, but if you have like a glass jar, a glass mason jar that you want to put yours in, or you know, some kind of glass container like that has a top, feel free to use that instead. I actually prefer you use that. I really don't like to use plastic at all. But I'm going to saran wrap this before I throw it in the freezer, because I don't want the top layer to taste like freezer. You know what I'm saying? But this ice cream is light It's refreshing. It's almost raw vegan. It's pretty much guilt-free, and it is a delicious, delicious, delicious spring treat, okay? This week's topic is identity and why it's important. You guys know how we do. We identify the issue, we discuss the issue, and then we solve the issue. So let's identify the issue. We don't know who we are, so we cannot properly distinguish between us and our enemies. Most of us are so far gone that we don't even realize that we're at war. I want to reference you guys this video, okay? This video that we're doing now is not meant to define Black African identity, but to talk about why it's important to have a sense of that. So go check out my other video, African People Determine African Identity, for more understanding of what's considered Black/African. Only African people with knowledge of self, love of our people, and love of ourselves are qualified to even determine these things. So now chocolate covered white people or fake Ashidi or we are the world Negroes, you're not qualified to make these determinations. Alright, so let's get into the discussion aspect of this. What happens when you don't know who you are? Well, white supremacy is successful at keeping you and your people confused and distracted. You don't know who your enemy is, so you sometimes protect your enemies like allies, even though they prove to you time and time again that they're not your friend. And you become self-destructive by trying to identify with your enemies, or even forcing your enemies to identify with you. And that is something we have bad, y'all. Many adopt this individualistic identity where they disassociate from their own people in order to look out mostly for themselves and attach themselves to multiculturalism, and oftentimes to the detriment of our own people, i.e. the token blacks or the top 10%, etc. Many of us have a limited knowledge of the world as well. And most of us will never leave our states, let alone the country. And we do not properly educate ourselves on what's going on with our people around the world. Mostly because a lot of us just don't think to that scale or that magnitude. The lack of knowledge of self on a global scale is problematic because when we do interact with our enemies in our immediate surroundings, we have no clue how they really feel, act, or treat us, especially in their home countries, until it's too late. For example, the Arab slave trade still exists. And I'm talking about all the Arab countries, okay? All of y'all who want to fly Emirates, etc., you're going to get your ass stuck. They're going to take your passport and mutilate you and then force you to be research it, okay? There is a strong anti-blackness in all countries, including Hispanic ones. Me being Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latino on my mom's side, and spending a lot of time in these other countries like Central America, the countries within Central America and stuff, I experienced this stuff firsthand. My family experiences this stuff firsthand. And then it's harder to, when we don't know what's really going on in those places, we'll get things confused. For example, many don't know the difference between a mestizo like Cardi B's trifling ain't shit, big toe looking ass, a white Latino like J-Lo's snatching vocals from Ashanti's ass, or an Afro-Latino like Amara Negra, who was more so of a Afro-Latino, it's a mix, or an African in a Hispanic country like my people, Garifuna people, or your typical idea of a Black Jamaican. And because we are unaware of these dynamics, we're oftentimes blindsided when our enemies finally show their true colors, after they've used us for their benefit, especially African descendants who were enslaved in the United States. For example, my sister was recently fired from a warehouse she was working at. She was the only non-Hispanic person working at that warehouse. And after they fired her, they went and hired another Hispanic person we suspect was family. But my sister is Afro-Latina, Afro-Caribbean, so clearly they can distinguish the difference between a Black person no matter where they are. the war on black people these past few summers around the LA area, where the Latino gangs have been on a killing spree against black people specifically. Not even specifically black gangs, black people. P-E-O-P-L-E. I came back from university one summer and I really had to watch my back because they were killing women on their way to work, old black men minding their business, kids, whoever. Okay? Don't go to prison in Cali or New Mexico or Arizona or Texas or whatever too, because they'll for surely show you for real that they do not fuck with you. Hispanic police officers, especially in more predominantly Hispanic areas or affluent Hispanic areas and black areas, are oftentimes just as bad to black people, if not worse, than white officers. And a lot of them are white Hispanics. Hispanic people in office are pushing their own agendas to only help their own people, even though the only reason why these Spanish, Latino, Hispanic, Latinx, that whole, I'm talking about all of them, the only reason why they have these opportunities is because of our struggle. And they only attached themselves to our struggle when it began to benefit them. You know, they weren't out there going through all the brutalization and mutilation and stuff that we were. They waited until the government sparked that magic word minority, then attached themselves to us, undercut us, stabbed us in the back, and left us hanging to dry while they took over everything that was ours. Hispanic workers in the country are in the county are building and printing resources solely in Spanish to keep black people and non-Hispanics from information, even though black people made it possible for them to receive anything in this country in the first place. You know, and that's one of my other little issues with like ADOS, because they want to go after the continental brothers and sisters who come over here who are like maybe a 3% of the African population receiving black benefits, but you have this overwhelming majority, I think it's like 30% of Hispanic immigrants over here and Hispanic people receiving the same social benefits that were supposed to be for us black people. We got a lot bigger problem on our hands than our couple of little brothers and sisters over here, even though some do come with no sense. Asian people literally are blocking black people out of the beauty industry. Like those girls in Moreno Valley, 2 black women in Moreno Valley decided to open up a beauty supply. And they were doing well. But the other Asian-owned beauty suppliers in the area told the distributors that if you sell to them, we will not buy from you anymore. Thus choking out and suffocating the black women and forcing them to go out of their business. Not to mention the violence and brutal treatment that we receive from these people on the regular. I even received disrespectful and disgusting treatment from Asians when I'm back home in Central America. They don't hire black people either, and they're like taking over everything, including Louisiana fried chicken. When I was growing up as a kid, Louisiana's fried chicken, I know I'm vegan now, y'all, but it was a black-owned and operated situation. And then for a second, it stopped being black-owned. There was still a couple of black people working there, especially the one off in Compton off of Alondra and the one off of Crenshaw in LA. Now, you won't find any black people working there. Maybe a Hispanic person working with the Asians. They tend to work together sometimes. But they sell the Chinese food in there now and ice cream. You don't know what it is you're eating. And we're buying all the food, but we're not getting none of the coin. Asians, that includes Indians and Middle Eastern. I'm talking about the whole Eurasia, the whole Asian continent, are invading and colonizing and snatching Africa and the Caribbean while shitting on Africans there, especially in Kenya, Congo, and Belize right now. And many people, and my people, my own family in Belize, they don't even know these foreigners like we do, so they don't see what's happening in front of their eyes like I do, and they think I'm crazy when I'm telling them about it. And I'm literally watching what happened to black people and black communities over here in the US happen to them in the Caribbean. Asians are owning all the liquor stores and convenience stores while treating black people like shit. Middle Easterns are joining the game. Middle Easterns are selling poison to our people with no regard, abusing us when they feel like it. I've been a victim of direct Asian male abuse and direct Middle Eastern male abuse. They're still owning African slaves in their homeland. These Middle Easterns are still owning African slaves in their homeland. They're still snatching up women from Kenya, women and men from Kenya, Libya, etc. You name it. Okay? Extreme racism and anti-blackness in all of these countries. And especially the countries they've invaded in Africa. All of above Saharan Africa has pretty much been taken over and invaded by Middle Easterns. And then Morocco is reported to be one of the most colorist as far as race and racist places in North Africa. As a result, we constantly embarrass ourselves in front of the world by defending and caping for other people, oftentimes at the expense of our own people. And then we pick the wrong people to cape for. Like, how you gonna throw Just Hilarious under the bus, but you gonna sit there and root for R. Kelly? How you gonna, I don't know, throw me under the bus, but you want to cape it and collab with Cardi B? I'm done. I'm done. Okay, we canceled Just Hilarious over an insensitive joke of an Arab Muslim, even though many Arab Muslims make it blatantly clear in their business, especially in their home countries, as a collective, that they do not fuck with black people and that we're just slaves to them. The women are domestic slaves and sex slaves. The men are slaves as well, castrated, passports stolen, you can't go home, you try to run to the police, they return you to your slave master. Research this stuff. I know I'm not tripping. And it took me having to step out and expand my worldview. It took me having to travel and see what's going on in other countries. It took me having to research what's going on in other countries. It took me having to talk to my brothers and sisters around the globe to find out what's really tea and what's going on in their areas as well. We cape for illegal Hispanic immigrants, the overwhelming majority of illegal immigrants who are taking up a ton of the benefits that African descendants of the United States slavery. I'm still working on like an appropriate name for us from over here, are benefiting from, but they won't even hire us after they collectively gentrify and take over what is ours. Like Compton, that's where I grew up. Where I grew up off of Santa Fe and Tucker, a few blocks down, like a few main streets down, close to heading towards Long Beach, that used to be the line between us and the Hispanics. Now, it's all the way past my block. It's just, there, we're just getting inched closer and closer together and further out, and a lot of us are being gentrified out here to the IE, like San Bernardino, Moreno Valley, Colton, the desert. Our grievances, honestly, with Hispanic people are like 80 miles long. Never mind the fact that they help white people with slavery and all that too, but another story for another time. Many black people claim, oh, but you like your Latinas, but you want to go and get with the Latina. Oh, the hugest anti-blackness. Oh, I'm so tired of, especially brothers but sisters too, going and getting with these people and then want to come crying back to us when they go over there and get their feelings hurt or get disrespected, especially after they've already had kids. Like, many black people claiming Indian were slaves of those people, not people of those people. Yes, Native Americans, Indians, Indigenous, whatever you want to call them, a lot of them owned slaves and were also helping white people to keep us enslaved. In fact, they were the last to let go of their slaves in this country, and it was Europeans who had to force them to let go of us as slaves. Very, very few subgroups of indigenous peoples actually were allies to African people. Very few. We got Murder Mook out here caping for Yes Jules. I didn't even know who either of those were before this bullshit. Saying she's black and can say the N-word because she's a white Puerto Rican and Italian. We have Tyrese and his black queen with his white Jamaican. We have, I can't even get started on Retarded B. I cannot, okay? We have the lead actor from Power out here getting upset with black people, in particular black women, because he feels like we need to accept his wife more and make his white wife feel more comfortable. And if you see this woman, it's like, boy, bye. Okay, we have Winston and Duke out here with the ching chong. Oh, it hurts my soul. We have Obama's holistic life as a disappointment. We have J. Cole, also biracial, out here wanting to claim pro-black and all that, but he's always constantly and consistently making excuses for poor white people. Why? Because his mother is a poor white person. So of course he's going to always want to reference, make a pass for some white people in his videos and in his songs and stuff, because, his heart's still over there. So, and can you blame him? It's his mama. Diasporic and continental Africans are constantly caping for these crackers. Like, I get it, where you live at, where you're from, you don't really see their faces like that, and just like black people in the hood, all the faces you see look like yours, so you're blaming all the bullshit you see around you on the faces that look like yours, and you don't realize it's these people that you want to cling on to, that you want to claim as friend, that you want to say, and like my Caribbean brothers and sisters, oh, we need them for tourism, we need them for tourism. No, the fuck you don't. Garifuna people was living our best lives before these people showed up. In fact, we fought against these people for our freedom for 150 years. The British and the English tried to re-enslave us. And now they're coming over here as tourists, getting all up in our shit, trying to figure out how to recolonize us, buying up our villages and kicking us out of them, using us as tourist roadside attractions. And we can't even remember a time where we were completely self-sufficient and had no necessity for these people. I've come to my people many of times with works and projects of progress for us, and many times my efforts have been dismantled and thwarted by my own people due to their friendships and proximities to off-brands. My Natural Hair Expo and a couple of my Black is Beautiful events have been unattended. A lot of Black women, especially the Black people, didn't want to show up because their biracial friends were throwing a tantrum because it wasn't about them, because we were focusing on Black natural hair textures, because the movement was hijacked by biracials in the first place. We had my general collaborations, like recently I collaborated with an organization for Queen's Day, and that was ruined to me because of the caping for this for a Hispanic group with their own interests who came to us for collaboration, which was completely disingenuous, and they were completely disrespectful, and all the Black people were so busy caping for someone who did not need or deserve defending that they jumped on their only true ally who was really making shit happen. Same with King's Day. I collaborated on an event with King's Day recently, an event celebrating Black men, and I got Black women together to put it on. But when it was time to talk about Black man's duty and requirement to protect and defend and to care for Black women, the leaders of the group and the organization were like, oh, we don't want to talk about that because we don't want to offend anybody who doesn't have a Black woman or who doesn't, you know, want to be with a Black woman. People can love who they want to love. So why do you have all these Black women here? See, that's the stuff I'm talking about. You know, when you're too close to these people, when you're mixed into these people, when you're adopted by these people, when you're all up and you really develop this psychological dependency on them and this emotional attachment to them, and you don't realize how they really see you, and it's not the way you see them. And you know what, the list and the beat can go on and on and on and on, okay? But anytime a real and oftentimes aggressive and exclusive solution comes about, we allow ourselves to be divided and distracted by others and intersectionality, which results in the boosting of others and the destroying of us. Many of us even use our religious identities to support being a sacrificial lamb to the world. But that's another video for another time. And I think that we self-sabotage like that on purpose to avoid actually being proactive and feeling responsible for our own freedom, liberation, and revolution. But again, another video for another time. Ooh, here we go. What's my favorite time? Solutions. Why you gotta say it like Jai? Solutions? No, you can't hang with my vibe. Can't hang with the big dog. Get off. Okay, yeah, I lost it. The point is, it's solution time. Okay. Know yourself holistically so that you have the capacity to truly and wholly love yourself and your people enough to have a strong sense of self-preservation like every other group of people. Okay? I just want to run it back one more time because it felt like power coming out of my mouth. Okay? Know yourself holistically so that you have the capacity to truly and wholly love yourself and love your people enough to have a strong sense of self-preservation, okay? Like every other group of people. With a strong sense of self-preservation, you will identify, then separate yourself from, excuse me, then prepare to eliminate your enemies. Realize that all we have is us, really us. No other group is our friend either, or our allies. If we must engage, it must be solely to our benefit. That's exactly what they do to us. It has become so common now that other groups of people feel like they can come to Black people, especially Black women, with their plight, and for us to completely and solely support them without receiving any of that same support or anything in return. That's got to change. You can't come take from us without giving in return. And when we come to you, we're coming to take in reparation and repercussion of all that you've taken from us without ever giving back. Everybody who gets in the way of our progress is our enemy. Everybody, including coons, fence hoppers, chocolate covered crackers, off brands, predators of any kind, you name it. Anybody, everybody who gets in the way of our progress is an enemy. Biracials have to understand that they have two options. You're either an ally or an enemy. And there is no both. You're an ally or you're an enemy. No one can claim to be for us while building with, reproducing with, sleeping with, or caping for our enemies. Again, no one can claim to be for us while building with, reproducing with, sleeping with, or caping for our enemies. They are enemies. That's counterproductive. Okay? So that's just basically the tea on that. Whew, I know I'm about to lose half my subscribers and all of my Instagram followers. But oh well, that's the tea on that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Don't be scared. Comment and share. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Also, make sure you do yourself a favor and go follow my personal Instagram page. That is at Jylynnheads as my pro-black/personal page. Make sure you follow my business page. That is yofavorite.untitled. Again, that's at yofavorite.untitled. Make sure you guys answer the question of the day. If grocery stores close tomorrow, how will you feed your family? You know I want to know your answer. Do us all a favor. Go to my email or DM me or inbox me or whatever the case. Leave in the comment sections your answer to that question. I'll leave my email right here and in the description box as well. Also, guys, please keep in mind that it is hot out here for a pimp. All these videos take a ton of time, energy, money, etc., etc., and I do not monetize my videos, so I appreciate any support that you guys can offer me out there. I'll make sure that my Venmo, Cashapp, and PayPal are also all available in the description box. And remember, black love, black pride, black power. You have to know yourself, to love your people. And with that being said, I love y'all. Peace, family.